I just noticed that I was playing a sound which did come through. So just a mic test for me. I hope everybody can hear me here.
Yes, you sound good.
Thank you so much, Bridget. All right, so welcome to today's webinar on students tracking their work. So today's webinar is for educators, and I'm going to talk about the Brightspace tools that help students to keep updated with their own work and so that they do not miss out on any submissions. My name is Puneet Kaur, and I'm the success coach with D2L. My role is to partner with K-12 educators and learners to align Brightspace technology with their educational goals. Before joining D2L, I worked as a curriculum analyst, education researcher, and educator. So before I begin with today's webinar, some housekeeping items for today. So the Q&A is open for today's webinar, and if you have any questions related to what the demo I run through, please feel free to put them in the question pod. All the links relevant to today's webinar will be posted in the chat. And if you have any additional questions or if we run out of time, please feel free to send them across on successcoach@d2l.com. And also the recording and slide deck for today's webinar will be available on the Teaching and Learning website for your reference. So the agenda for today's webinar, I'll begin with understanding some terms and then the learning objectives for today's webinar. And then I'll move into the live demo where I'm going to walk you through how to set up the checklist, calendar, and work to do widget. And then in the end, I'll leave you with some resources that would be helpful for you to dive in deeper for what I discussed today. So understanding some key terms. So D2L stands for Desire to Learn, and it's the name of the company. We have this product by the name of Brightspace. So Brightspace is the learning management system, and it is compatible to a variety of devices like laptops and desktops and smaller devices like iPads and tablets and phones. And we have this page by the name of Brightspace Community. So Brightspace Community is a hub of information related to Brightspace. And if you have the account within Brightspace Community, you can even ask any question and any expert from D2L will get back to you to answer you with your queries. So the learning objectives for today's webinar. So by the end of today's webinar, you'll be able to create a checklist, put events in the calendar tool, and set up work to do widget in your homepage. So I'm just going to move into my Brightspace learning environment. So please bear with me as I jump into my Brightspace course. And there you go. So right now on your screen, you are seeing my Brightspace course. Before I begin, I would like to call out here that you might not see certain options in the tools in your Brightspace learning environment. If that's the case, probably a district or state level must have set it that way. And if you would like to see the options that you see in today's webinar, please contact your Brightspace administrator, or you can even email us for assistance. So the first tool that I'm going to talk about today is the checklist. So checklist is a great tool for students if you want to help them to stay on a track or in a project or in an assignment, or it could be also a great way to evaluate students on on their learning. It's a great assessment tool as well. So to use checklist, you need to go to your navbar. So this could be accessed from your navbar. You can create an icon within your navbar, or it could be even accessed through the course admin tool, where all the tools available to you in your Brightspace learning environment would be of your access. So as I click on the checklist tool, this takes you to the checklist. You land into the checklist tool, and the first step over here is to begin with starting a new checklist, for which you need to click on this blue button. So here you need to put the name of any checklist that you want to set up for your students. So if you are a subject teacher just teaching one subject, so in that case, you can simply set a checklist for a specific module or a lesson. Or if you are teaching younger learners where you are teaching different subjects to your students, you can set up the checklist by the name of different subjects, and you can create individual checklist items under this umbrella checklist. So for today's example, I'm just going to create a checklist for a single subject. So I'm just going to give this checklist a name of one of the modules that I'm going to teach to my students. And again, here, if you want to create to make it more interactive or inclusive for different learners, you can add different multimedia options from here. You can add any quick link or you can add your own video note, record your own video over here and just upload it. Or you can even add an image or any web link if you want. So as I put the module name into the checklist, I just press save. And then it takes me to the further options where I have to create the new category for this checklist and add the additional items. So again, the new category would be the specific project or an assessment or an assignment that you want to create for your students, so that and there you can put the individual actionable items or the indicators under this category. So for example, under this module or lesson, I'm going to create a new category, and this category for me is a project on the Mesopotamia civilization, for example. So I'm just going to put the name of a specific project under the lesson ancient civilization, and then again, I'm going to press save. So now you can see that a module has been created. Under that, a category has been created, and now more granular items need to be created under this category, which are the actual indicators that would help students to stay on the track with their project or assignment or any activity. So for that, I need to go to the new item. And in the new item, again, I'm going to put any indicator that student need to fulfill or any step that they need to accomplish into this project. So for example, in the project on Mesopotamia civilization, the first step is to research all the relevant information. So I'm just going to put that over here. And again, for younger learners or for the emerging multilingual learners, you can add any multimedia option over here, make it more interactive for them. And if you want this to be an actionable item within a specified date, you can even put a due date to it. And if you want that this needs to be displayed in the calendar for students to stay on the track with this specific project, you can even check this option to display it in the calendar. So just for today, I'm going to uncheck this box because I don't want this to be displayed into my calendar, and I don't want to add a due date for my students. So I'm just going to press save. And you can see that the checklist has been created. So this checklist is created under this module, the project name, and then the specific actionable items under this project that student need to fulfill. Now, if you want to add more items, you can again go to the new item from here, or you can even press on this drop down and you can copy this. This is a quicker way to create the multiple items. As you can simply copy it and edit it for your own purpose. And I'm just going to press save and close. So now you can see this, that this checklist has been created into the course. And from more actions, you can probably, if you have a bunch of checklists ready for you, you can reorder them. Or if you want to delete any checklist, that could be done from here. And how it is going to look like to students, you can simply press on the chevron or the drop down, and then you can preview it in a new window. So you can see that this is how the checklist is going to look like to students. So these are the individual actionable items under this project. So which when students they simply completed, they need to check this box for themselves. So that's how you can set up a checklist for yourself, for your students. And also, if you want to make it more accessible to students, you can even create a quick link for this checklist into the content. Because in the content, if you create this quick link, that is a great way for students to access all the related items into one space. And the next tool that I'm going to talk about today is the calendar tool. So calendar tool is great if you want your students to look into the different activities related to your course. So calendar tool is great for any activity that you want to be displayed into your calendar related to any assignment or any lesson that needs to be completed before until a specified date, or any collaborative event that you need to do. If there are any check-in events, if there is any community circle, or even events like birthdays for the classmates. So it is helpful not only for the academics, but also for any social emotional learning pieces for your students. So you can see that I have some bunch of events in my calendar. You can see that this is an assortment of different assignments that students need to do. And even if there is any birthday coming up for any classmate, or if there is a trip that is coming up, or any weekly check-in like a community circle or anything of that sort can be added into the calendar. So how you can set up an event into your calendar? For that, you need to simply click on the calendar tool. And you can see that there are different ways to view your calendar tool. There is the agenda view. You can view it through the day, week, month, or the list. You can even print calendar for your own purpose. And if you go into the settings, it takes you to the advanced options where you can set up the core hours for your calendar. So you can set up the hours when you want your calendar to be displayed into your course, any default event duration. So depending upon your own needs, this could be like a 30-minute default duration, 1 hour, or whatever you want to set it up. If you check the enable calendar feeds option, you even have the option to subscribe this calendar into your own personal calendar, and you can view your events into your own personal calendar also. And from the task options, you can set up the task, and you can set up the advanced settings for the tasks, that how you want these tasks to be displayed into your calendar, and how you want them to be deleted or get disappeared. So the students are going to see the calendar pretty much like you see it. The only difference is they do not have the option to edit it. Rest of the view for students remain the same. So how to create an event into the calendar? So you need to press this blue button, which says create event. And you can simply give a name to this event. Or if you want a specific lesson or content that needs to be completed by a specific due date, you can simply press add content option from here. And then you can choose the lesson that you want your students to complete within a specified time. So for example, in geography, I want my students to complete this types of maps lessons. So you can simply add it here. And further, it gives you the option to display this name as is, or if you check the use custom name option, you can even give another name to this to this lesson. And again, over here in the Brightspace editor, you can even make it interactive for your students. As I said before, it is super helpful for emerging multilingual learners, or even if like the early learners. So it is a great way to keep them engaged into whatever activity you upload in your course. So for example, I want to add an additional video into this event. So I can simply press on YouTube option. You can even add your own video or any link. So for example, I wanted to add this video on ancient Mesopotamia. Yeah, that could be simply selected from here. And as I press next, and insert. This video is going to be displayed here. And from the attendees option, you have the option to choose the attendees for this specific event. So probably like if it is for a specified group of students, or if it is for everybody in the course offering, you can set it up on your own way. And if there are additional groups or sections that you want this event to be available to, so you can even do that from here. And from here, you can set up the duration of this event. It could be an all-day event, or it could be for a specified time. Since the default time setting for this calendar is 30 minutes, so you can see that this has been set up from 4:30 to 5 p.m. From add recurrence, you can add if it is a repeating event for your students. For example, if there is a community circle or any weekly or bi-weekly check-in, so you can set up the recurrence from here. It could be done on a daily, weekly, monthly, or annual basis. And if you want to add any restriction to this event, restriction actually means that how you want to set up the visibility window of this specific event, you can even do that from here. So this event could be hidden for a specified time, or it can be even visible for a specified window as you set it up for yourself. And location is the advanced settings into your course. If you follow the seating chart within your course, so you can set it up that way. So this specific event would be available to students if you're following the seating chart in your course. So as I press create, this event would be created into the calendar and it would be visible to students. And from the set date option, it gives you the quicker access to the content, and you can set up the date for every content if you want it to be completed by a certain date. And from import events option, you can import any external file into your calendar, and the events will be displayed there. So I'm just going to go into my home page. I'm going to show you that how this event is created into my calendar. And the next tool that I'm going to talk about today is the Work to Do widget. So Work to Do widget also helps students to know any upcoming submissions that they need to complete. So the major difference between the calendar tool and the Work to Do widget is the calendar tool is a great way to keep on track on the different activities within the course. So these activities are not just they are not just like they're not limited to the academics or any submission or any tasks that students need to do. They are also, they can be used for the socio-emotional learning, collaboration events, or any check-ins that you want to have with your students. However, Work to Do widget is only specified for any actionable item or any submission that students need to keep updated for. So to set up the Work to Do widget in your course, you need to go to this ellipsis, which takes you to the Manage Homepages and Edit This Homepage option. Today, I'm going to go to the Edit This Homepage option. I want to call out here that if you're setting up your homepage for the very first time, you need to actually look into the Manage Homepages option, because there is a workflow to create a copy of this homepage when you're editing it for the first time. There is a webinar by the name of Navigating Your Homepage. You can access that webinar from the Teaching and Learning link, and that will walk you through how you can set up your homepage copy for the first time. This is important because if you end up editing the master homepage, you may change the homepage for all your colleagues within your school or district level. So in order to edit your own homepage in your own course, you need to create a copy. So you can see on my screen that the copy has already been created for me. And to enable Work to Do widget in my homepage, I need to go to the bottom over here where the layout of the homepage can be seen. So this gives me the option to edit any widget, add or remove any widget from this from my homepage. So to add Work to Do widget, I need to go to Add Widgets option. And from here, I need to select Work to Do widget. and I need to add it here. So if you want the work to do widget to be displayed on the top or any other widget to be displayed into a specific order that you want, you can simply drag it according to your own preference. So I want work to do widget to be seen on the top for my students. So I'm just going to drag it and take it on the top. And then simply press save and close. So as work to do widget is enabled, one interesting thing that you won't be able to see the work to do widget in your own course. Reason being that the work to do widget only displays any upcoming or pending items that need to be completed. So this would be only seen to students when they have any upcoming assignment in their course. So I'm just going to quickly show you how work to do widget is seen by students in their course. Please bear with me as I go into my course. Okay, so right now I'm viewing my course as a student. And now you can see that since I enabled work to do widget in my course homepage as a teacher, as a student, now the work to do widget is visible on the course homepage on the right side on the top. So you can see that the upcoming assignments in next 2 weeks can be seen here. And if students wish to see more assignments in the future, they can see from view all work. So all the upcoming assignments in the coming up 2 weeks and in the next month can be seen from here. Also, only the assignments where you add the due date only those assignments would be seen in the work to do widget, and you can also put the quizzes and discussions along with the assignments get automatically populated into the work to do widget if there is a due date attached to them. Also, for the calendar tool, I wanted to call out another very important point over here is that in the calendar tool, the assignments get automatically pushed into the calendar tool. But for quizzes and discussions, you need to go into the restrictions, and then when you add the due date to the quizzes and discussions, there you also need to select the box for display in calendar option. Only then that specific item would be displayed into the calendar. And with this, I come to the end to today's demo. So a quick recapitulation on the learning objectives. So today you learned how to create a checklist, put events in calendar tool, and set up work to do widget in your homepage. So we are running these monthly webinars, and the calendar is here. You can see on your screen. So today it was students tracking their work, and June 15th is going to be using Brightspace for younger learners, and it is going to be a panel webinar. And we are also running Brightspace guided training. So Brightspace guided training can be accessed through the Brightspace community page. These are the self-guided program, also the instructor guided training webinars, and you can register over there, and you can even find more webinars that suit your needs. And these are some resources I'm sure they'll be helpful to you to dig in more deeper into the Brightspace tool and best practices. And that's it from my side. I leave the stage for the question and answers now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Penny. So there is one question. If I added a student by mistake in one of the postings, how do I remove the student? So I believe that is referring to the event when you added an event and you assigned it to students. Can you show what this looks like to edit this event? So I can see that Josie would like to answer that question, but however, Sarah, Bridget, can you please repeat that? I just lost you there in between. Sorry about that. Oh, yes, sorry. So if I added a student by mistake in one of the postings, how do I remove the student?
Postings as in the event?
I believe so, yes.
So, okay. So you mean to say, because the event that we create into the calendar, that gets automatically pushed into all the students within the class offering. So you mean to say, so if an event is created and then you choose the attendees from here, either it would be pushed to all the students, or it could be even simply if you have already created a group, so you can select that group. So if you think that this event was not meant for this specific group, you can simply go again over here and remove that group, and you can select the group that you wanted to add. I hope I'm able to answer your question, Sandra. Also, Bridget, if there is any additional documentation related to this, I think we can send it across to Sandra.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I think that answered the question. That's great. Thanks,
Thank
Puneet.
you. Thank you.
We don't have any other questions at the moment. Earlier, there was a question about checking off items on a checklist. Do you want to just show, while we have some time while we're waiting for questions, what it looks like from the student view, maybe to check off from the checklist?
Okay, so I'll just show you. So right now I'm looking into my learning environment as a student. So I need to go to the checklist. So this is the checklist that was just created. So simply student need to check this off and press save. That's it. It's a very simple workflow for students. And then as students press save, this shows as completed. And like as an educator, you can even see that when the student completed, which date and what time. Meanwhile, I often get questions related to the work to do widget and the calendar tool difference. I'm just going to show you how it looks to what are the basic difference between work to do widget and calendar tool. So as I said before, that the work to do widget is specially meant for students to keep a track on any upcoming assignment or actionable items. However, calendar tool is great if you have any activity or event that needs to be shown into the calendar. So, okay, I'll just pause there. I see a question in the question pod. So is there a way to get the info from Dropbox to either the checklist or work to do widget automatically? So I'm not sure, Marlene, if I can help you with this question, but I'll be more than happy to send you any documentation if I have on this. So I'm sure that I'll be able to provide a solution through any documentation. Meanwhile, Bridget, do you have an answer to this question?
I don't believe there's a way for the checklist to get the info from the Dropbox. Work to do widget might be a little bit different, but we can definitely get you some follow-up information for this one.
Thank you. Thanks, Bridget. So circling back to the work to do widget and the calendar tool. So work to do widget is it needs to be enabled into the homepage. However, calendar tool can be set up in the navbar, or it can be even accessed through the homepage depending upon your own needs. You can set it up both ways. However, for work to do widget, that could be only accessed through the homepage, and only students are able to see it. As an educator, you enable it in the homepage, but you do not see it yourself. And so the work to do widget, again, if you have any due assignments in coming 2 weeks, you need to also push it. You can only push it into the work to do widget if you're adding a due date to your assignment or any action item. Otherwise, it won't be seen.
We have about 1 minute left. If there are any questions remaining, please put them into the Q&A.
Yeah, as Bridget said, okay, it's time. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate your presence. So have a great night. Thank you, everybody.